How did Grandpa propose to you?
I didn't really know. He'd gone to work over in Ottumwa, and I always kidded him afterwards and said he just got tired of eating at restaurants. Is the reason we got married.
Is that right?
I think we just started talking about it one day when to get married, and just took it for granted that we'd gone together for probably a year and a half or so. I don't really know.
Did you always meet in Ottumwa? Is that it for supper?
No, I never met him over there.
Well, when you say you met him in restaurants.
I told him that I thought he was tired of eating in restaurants.
Oh, tired of eating in restaurants. You're going to give him a good home-cooked meal.
Yeah,
huh?
that's what I told him that he was after. He laughed.
Yeah? Well, he had a good sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
Probably matched yours, didn't it? Did you ever play any practical jokes on each other?
I don't think so. He was pretty serious.
Mm-hmm. Did he give you an engagement ring?
Not ahead of time. I think he gave me one day we got married.
Hmm.
Brought it in the wedding ring at the same time, evidently.
That's the one you're still wearing?
Oh, no, that was our 40th anniversary ring. You know, I got it. It was kind of set up, and it was white gold. It was up on this thing. The mounting wore into a little place where it would cut my finger, so I haven't worn it for years. It was just a small one. It would have to be reset. I've thought of, before gold, silver, and everything got so high, I'd thought one time I having it made into a locket, putting the set in a locket, but never did.
Well, the day that you were married, was that at the Justice of the Peace?
No, it was at a preacher in Sigourney.
Now, did your mom know that you were going to be getting married?
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't know when, is that right?
Oh, sure.
Oh. Now, I thought that it was kind of a surprise wedding.
No, well, it surprised people in town. They didn't
Oh.
know it, but my folks knew it, and her dad was dead, but mother knew it. I'm not sure whether my brothers even knew it or not, but my sister did. Clark and Clara Teets were stood up with us, and they lived in Kyoto, so they took me up to Sigourney, and he came from Ottumwa, Medicine Sigourney. And he got up there and started to get the license. You could get the license the same day you were married at that time, and he had to have somebody to witness that he was who he said he was. He had a heck of a time finding anybody. But then he started looking for a preacher, and most of them were out of town on some kind of a convention or something. Finally found this one that I just got back the night before from it, and so he married it. I think it was right in his home, as I remember.
Your mom didn't go to the wedding then?
Uh-uh.
And neither did Lenny then?
Nope. Just Clark and Clara.
Did you get all dressed up?
Oh, you betcha. Had a brand new blue dress for it.
Is that right? He get dressed up in a suit and tie and everything?
Oh, sure.
Did he wear a top hat or anything?
Not while we was getting married.
Mm.
Probably did, because they wore hats most of the time then.
Yeah.
But,
What was your mom's reaction to you getting engaged?
oh, I guess she thought I was old enough. I was 21, so I should have been old enough to be getting married by then.
She liked Grandpa, though?
Yeah, I think so. He used to torment her quite a little. She was a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, and he was a Republican, and they'd get in some... He'd just do it for her and just get her in a good argument about politics.
Did she know he was doing that?
I don't know. She'd get pretty huffy sometimes about it, because she was a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat.
What was Lenny's reaction to you getting engaged?
I really don't know. I wasn't around her.
Well, was Uncle Art married at that time?
Uh-uh.
So Grandpa was the first one to get married, or was Leota? I think Leota
Oh,
was.
Leota had been married for a long time.
Okay.
She had all of them, but kids all but Jackie at that time.
Oh, okay. But Jess wasn't married, I don't think, was he?
No, we were going to get married the year before, and he wasn't out of high school yet, and of course Dad was the main provider in the family there. He had raised him from about the time they were, well, for years, I don't really know how long, and so Jess was to graduate the next spring, so we waited till June after he graduated then.
Jess then took over.
Well, she got a job cooking in the restaurant about the same time. I guess she knew that she was going to have to help provide for herself, so she started cooking in the restaurant there and cooked in there for several years.
She didn't really have too many kids left. She had Dorothy and Chance.
Yeah.
And they were probably old enough.
Chance was working at odd jobs, had been for quite a while.
He never finished high school then.
No, I don't think he went. Probably. I don't know how far they sent him. He just didn't learn in school too good. And
So the only two people that didn't graduate from high school were Grandpa and Chance then.
the only ones that did graduate from high school was Jess.
Art didn't either? Well, I wonder if that says something then, with Jess as successful as he was in money, being able to go all the way through high school.
Well, it could be. I think Dad could have gone farther if he'd had a chance. He said he just got out to the place where he felt like he had to drop out of school and help out. I don't know whether his dad had changed jobs again or what. He said he could remember he bawled because he had to leave school because he liked school so well.
That was about the 8th grade, wasn't it?
I don't know whether he even got to the 8th grade or not. They moved around so much, I think they probably didn't keep up with the classes because they'd miss out and have to take classes over, I suppose. I don't really know.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you first live in Ottumwa then after you were married?
Yeah, we lived in Ottumwa until after your dad was about 3 years old, I believe, when we moved back to Cuba.
And Norma wasn't born by then?
No, she was born. She's 5 years old, younger than.
Okay. Okay, so then where did you live in Kyoto?
You know where I and Dorothy lived,
Mm-hmm.
there in the corner. We lived in the house right next door to them.
Okay, yeah. And then you lived there for how long?
Till we went up into the apartment in the downtown there. We sold the house to those people that still have it. And that would have been about 40. Let's see, we moved up there in about 1946 or 7, I think.
So it was after Dad was in the service.
Oh yeah, he was out of service before I even knew him. See, we were married in 1926.
Yeah, no, I mean my dad. When you moved to that apartment. Since 1946.
We were still in the house when. I was trying to think if we moved up there while he was. I believe we did. I think we moved up there while he was still in the service.
Because I remember the pictures of him taken the day that he left for the service.
It was in the house.
Yeah. Like they were in front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how long did you live in the apartment? And where was that downtown?
Well, it's you know where the new bank is downtown?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was above there. I mean, they tore that
Mm-hmm.
old building clear to the alley down.
Mm.
That was, the bank was in front, and then the stairway that went up to our apartment, and then a restaurant on the end, north end of it. We lived there until we moved out on the farm.
When was that?
Well, was still living up there at the time Norma was married, which was 50. We must have moved out there about 51 or 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 51, 52. We were living out there when Pam was born, because I know Roger called us in the night to tell us, and of course all the neighbors were on the line too, seeing what was going on. I tried to call one or two of them next morning to tell them, and of course they already knew it.
Now, how long did you live out on the farm?
Oh, I think we was out there for about 3 years, I think. 3 or 4.
Then you moved to the place you're in now.
No, we moved back into town, into where Aunt Dorothy's house is now.
Oh.
And then the guy that owned that decided he wanted to sell it, and he didn't want to sell it. But we were having trouble with water. It was just a well there then. And so we wanted to get someplace where we didn't have to be carrying water all the time in the summer. He asked him to buy it, and he didn't want to sell. And then this house where we live now came up, and I think 56 is when we moved up there.
So you lived in High and Dorothy's about a year.
Yeah, it might have been a year or 2. I just can't remember. The dates are all muddled in those years.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you first got married, did you have much to put into a house?
Well, we lived in an apartment when we first went over there. And it came pretty well furnished. I had a home theater chest, a rocking chair, a few things like that. Then when we moved into the house, went down to the furniture store and bought a bunch of stuff one time, and paid it off so much a month. I think we got our living room outfit and dining room. Of course, we had to have a dining room one too,
Mm-hmm.
Bedroom.
Well, the cedar
Right.
chest, was that something that was given to you, or
Yeah, that was given to me from graduation.
by your mom?
I don't remember who gave it to me.
You still have it?
Oh, yeah.
That's the one in your bedroom? Well, did Grandpa have a lot of items since he'd been out on his own a little bit?
Well, no. Just his clothes was all, because anything he had was there at home. But he didn't live over in Tama too long. I don't remember when he went over there, I think long in the winter time, and we were just married in June. I don't remember. I think he just had a room over there, a furnished room.
Mm-hmm. Well, what job did Grandpa have when you were first married?
He was a car salesman,
For who?
canning motor in Atama.
Okay. And what about you?
No, I didn't. I was working around whatever was free before we got married, but
Mm.
I didn't work then until 1942 or something like that.
Is that right?
During the war years, I started helping the lawyer there with income tax, and when we got through with that, this job came up at the Chevrolet garage, because the bookkeeper he either joined the Navy or had been drafted, I don't know which, and so they needed a bookkeeper. In fact, they were up there getting their income tax done, and I knew that I was just about through up there, and they were talking about getting a new bookkeeper, and they're going to have to get a new bookkeeper. I laughingly said, well, what about me? I'm going to be out of here in a few days. Of course, they took it right up, and as soon as I got out of there, I went to work down there then.
You remember how much you were paid?
$15 a week.
No, that's not too bad.
It wasn't at that time.
Yes.
And I got several raises.
Where'd you work after that then?
Well, then I had that operation and was laid up for about a year, and
Which operation was that?
well, I had a blood vessel, not an artery, but a vein had grown around one ovary,
Oh.
and had shut off the blood supply to the ovary, and it was turning gangrenous. Of course, they didn't know until they got inside of me what was wrong.
Yeah.
I was having a lot of pain, and so they operated on for that, and took the ovary out, and of course, like I usually do, I ended up with blood clots and was in bed for, well, clear up into May then, so of course, they had to have a bookkeeper for them, and I didn't work until toward fall. And Kyoto Electric Company needed someone over there, and she came up a time or two to Elsie Haggis to see if I would work for them. And so as soon as I got able, I went over there and worked. I worked there until we went out on the farm. And then when we came in from the farm, before we came in from the farm, I started coming in, clerking in at Hulse's. Was there for a year or so, and then I went to Key Wash Company, and of course they sold out to Kaiser. I was there until I retired.
Hulse's was Hulces?
Hulses.
Hulses. Well, what jobs did Grandpa have then?
Well, he was a salesman most of the time. He came back, when we came back to Kyoto, he went in to a garage. I don't know if you ever saw that picture
Pictures
of
of
that
the garage?
Miz and
Yeah, Ms.
Whitey and
Whitey.
Miz or
Whitey and
whatever. And of course, it was right in the time when everybody was getting hard up, and he just couldn't get, he was doing repair work in there too. And so then I think he closed out there, and I believe he went to the Standard Station after that and ran it for a while. And I think he left Standard Station and went to Freshwater's Feed. And he was in there for several years. He more or less was manager for him. And then I think he went out on the road selling feed, which was a foolish thing to do because right after that was when they started rationing gas, and you couldn't get gas to get around to call on your customers. I don't know how long he was there, not too long. I know it was hard. It was that one of our hardest up winters, I know, because he was just barely making expenses. And then what did he do? Maybe he started working for C.D. Kirkpatrick out at Walden Farm after that. And he was out there several years until we went out on the farm ourselves, down Smitty's farm. And Smitty's son decided he wanted to farm, so he sold out our share of livestock, one thing, another, to Smitty, and came back into town. I was already working for houses when we moved in. And I can't think who it was. He went into, I believe Pete Palmer was doing some building. By farrowing crates and things like that. And he worked there for a while, but then he worked for Darrell Grimes in the feed store, I believe, after that for a while. And he got the place, he just couldn't work anymore.
What year did he retire?
Well, it must have been around 68. Because it was 70 when I retired, and he had retired, I think, a couple of years before that. I'm just not sure what the dates were.
So he worked up until he was, 68, he would have been, what, 70?
70.
70. Was he able to draw Social Security?
Oh, yeah. He was getting soldier's pension, too.
Oh. Well, what was one of the... Were there any particular tough times that you had in your marriage?
Oh, very.
Is that right?
That when we... well, when he was in the garage there himself, wasn't hardly making anything then, and I mean, over expenses, and then the year he went out on the road to sell feed, if I hadn't canned a lot of stuff, that I had a big garden and I'd canned everything I could, we'd have gone hungry. That was the same year that Jeannie Marvel Arnold Adams had remarried at the time, and she got real sick, and we kept Jeannie part of that winter while her mother was in the hospital. And yes, it was a ruptured appendix, but she darn nearly died before they did anything for her.
Well, you think the depression was especially hard on you then?
Yeah, it was hard on everybody.
I mean, do you think that it was like 4 or 5, 6, 7 years in a
Oh,
row?
I don't think it lasted quite that long. He was still going pretty good when the war started, and then, after everybody got doing war work, I began to pick up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, did Grandpa ever worry about where his next job was going to come
Oh,
from?
yeah.
Was he ever in between jobs, like 3 or 4 months where he didn't have anything?
No, I don't think he's ever in between that long. Everybody knew he was a good worker.
Well, what social activities did you both attend? Like sports or dances or church?
Oh, we went to school affairs. I mean, when your dad was in, we used to go watch him play and instrumental music. And same with Norma. He belonged to the Masons, and he went to that. But as far as belonging to any clubs, we just played cards with different friends. That was about all our social activity. Except New Year's Eve, we always got together with Clark and Clara. They usually came to our place because we had kids.
Clark and Laura?
Clark and Clara Teets.
Oh.
Ones that stood up with us. And they came to our place, or were married at our place, over in Ottumwa later. They were both quite, well, Clark was about Whitey's age, but I think Clara was older than Clark. But they had got married, they'd gone together for years, but...
Either of them still alive?
No, they've been dead for several years.
Well, when my dad was born, did that change your life in any way?
No, not especially. I hadn't been working. I just stayed home, took care of him.
Did it change you at all, do you think?
Just the same old person.
Did it change Grandpa in any way?
Oh, I don't think so. Not too much. Just another responsibility for him, I think, which it seemed like he'd had a lot of that all his life.
Yeah. Was Grandpa ever away from home that much from his jobs?
When he was on the road selling feed, he was.
Like
He'd be
at a
gone.
week at a time or something?
He always got on the weekends. He went down clear into the southern part of Illinois. He had about, I don't remember how much of the state of Illinois he had. Then he had over north part of Iowa too, I believe. I think he would have done real well in that if he could have got around and would have had gas where he could got around to keep on selling.
Who were some of his longtime friends?
Well, Clark Dietz was, and Frank Lillig. Oh, I don't know. He belonged to Legion outfit too. He always attended all their meetings. There's quite a few of the Legion guys were pretty good friends he had.
Was he the type that other people would go to for help or advice?
I don't really know. I think everybody more or less kept their own counsel in those days.
Do you think he had a close relationship with my dad and with Norma?
Seemed to have, yeah. He thought they were something special.
I mean, more than you saw other fathers with their children, maybe?
Oh, no, I wouldn't say much more, but he had a close relationship with them.
With one more than another, you think?
Well, I think maybe a little more with your dad than he did with Norma, although he thought she was just okay, but they'd go out fishing and hunting together, one thing and another like that. That is, your dad and he would.
You were going to say before that?
That's not amounted to much.
Well, you mentioned fishing and hunting. Did he have any other hobbies?
Oh, I started to say that it was with your dad that he went fishing and hunting. Norma didn't go with it. No, that was the main thing. I think maybe when he was younger he played baseball and stuff.
Did he ever go down and play pool much?
Yeah, he used to some. He used to go down after he'd retired. He went down and this bunch of them would play cards down there at the pool hall. Until he finally said it got so darn noisy down there he just couldn't stand it. And then one of the guys was always arguing. He said, "I just quit going," which was too bad because he enjoyed going down there to give him something to do in the afternoons.
You think he would have enjoyed this senior center that you're at?
Yeah, I think he would have, because he loved to visit with people.
Did you and he ever discuss moving out of Iowa?
Never even thought about it, I don't think.
Did he ever try to run for a political office in Kyoto? He just liked to talk politics and didn't want to do anything about it.
That's right.
Did he ever fly on an airplane?
Yeah, in Ottumwa, I believe, when I was living over there, some people came in, like they used to do, take people rides for so much, and just in those little planes, he rode in it, and thought it was great. Then after you folks moved out here, we talked about moving out, or flying out here that next summer after you moved out. He just got so nervous he about had a heart attack. Norma said one day, "Do you know Dad's just sick over thinking about going out there?" I said, "No, I didn't." So she said, "Well, he is. He told me he wished I'd go on by myself because he sure didn't want to fly." And so next time, and that night or whenever it was, I don't know when she told me, but whenever I was around him again next time, I said, "Don't you want to go out there?" "Hell no, I don't want to go out there," he said. I said, "Well, we won't go then." He said, "Well, you go on and go." And I said, "No." So he says, "Well, I didn't ask him to move out there in the first place."
He never thought about taking a train, huh?
No, I don't think we even thought about that. At that time, I think there were trains going pretty good because Dorothy Richardson had relatives in Seattle, Washington, and she came out on a train. And I think he went over to either Cedar Rapids or Marion along in there and caught the train. I don't think he even had to change trains. He just went right straight out there.
Yeah.
I've kind of wished it'd be like that so I could try to do it sometime. But I'm getting a little old to try new tricks too. I think it's several days it takes to come. I don't really know how long. A couple anyhow, probably.
Takes 3 days just to drive. Well, Art and Jess always seemed in pictures to dress real well. Did Grandpa? Did he try to follow the latest fashions?
He was lucky if he had a good suit.
Yeah. Because the pictures you see of them, they always were real snappy dressers.
Well, most of the pictures of them was taken at our place, and you know, when you're around home, you don't dress up like that. Jess was always the fashion plate of the family anyhow. And I think he had to dress well on his job. And Art, I don't know, I suppose he probably had this one good suit because he was in uniform from the time he was about 17 or 18 years old until, well, when he retired from the Navy, whenever that was, which he was in both World Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And so really didn't have too much use of a good suit, so I suppose he had one that always was nice.
Yeah. Well, when did Jess buy his island in Mexico?
What, is it an island?
That's what I always thought it
Oh,
was.
I think it's just a house on the bay out there.
Is that right?
Gulf of California or somewhere out in there.
Baja or somewhere, yeah.
Well, it's been quite a few years. It was before Grandpa died. He died in 71. 14. They must have been down there for, I say they've been down there for 16, 18 years or better.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew why they wanted to move down there, but they must have known.
Well, they were living in Phoenix, weren't they? And I guess they probably liked the climate there so much.
Well, she had a good job at a bank. She was an officer of some kind in the bank, had a good job there, so.
Well, Dad's always said that he always thought he and Norma were probably the main beneficiaries of Jess's will. And then when Grandpa died, I guess Dad got upset that Jess didn't show up and had a tirade or something, got mad, and figures that he's out of his will now.
Well, he didn't say anything to Jess, did he?
I don't know. I guess he was figuring it probably got back to him.
Oh, I don't think so.
So we're still in the will, huh?
I have no idea. At one time, Leota told me this one time that I think Mercedes had told her that they had divided it up. That his side of the family would get half whatever was left, and her side of the family would get half. But I think her family's pretty well died out now too, and of course there's not so many left in Grandpa's side of the family.
Yeah.
There's your little one already.
Well, he's playing right now. I just got one more question. Do you have any cousins that are older than you that are still around?
Well, I know Arnold.
Is she the only one? Didn't you say you had some in Iowa City?
Yeah, they're really second cousins. Their
Okay.
mother was. I should write to them sometime. See, because their grandmother was Stevens too.
Yeah.
See if they might know anything about the family.
Because I'm still trying to find out about those pictures, that album that you gave me. I took pictures of the ones I didn't know, and I sent them to that Richard or Stevens or whoever was the state representative in Washington. He doesn't know who they are. He sent them back to me. And I'm just trying to find somebody else that might know who they are.
We send Christmas cards back and forth. That's about all I ever see these second cousins over there. And I was thinking here a while back I should probably see if they had any history on the Stevens family.
Mm-hmm.
They've both been retired for quite a while. The oldest one was a music teacher. I believe she was out in Phoenix for a while until she retired. And the other one was a nurse over at Iowa City. In fact, I think she ended up as professor of the pediatrics department or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, remember their names?
Oh yeah, Anna and Joel Antes.
Aunties?
Auntie, yes. Either one of them were married.
And you said that your brother Bill's son was also a little bit interested in the genealogy?
Yeah, but he seems to be working on his mother's side of the family more than...
Mm. Well, maybe he's already got...
Although he had wanted whatever I had, and I did find the Stewart stuff, but I'm going to go through that drawer and look when I get home. But I'll try and see if Norma has his address. If she doesn't, I'll have to write to his sister in Montana and have her send it to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, he may have the Arnolds even figured out. Maybe he can help me.
I don't think it sounded like he knew too much about them. I told him that you had worked quite a ways back on